Your home for the best college football coverage in Utah is on the KSL Sports Zone. Ready? It's another Holy War showdown as Kyle Whittingham and the Utes square off against the Cougars in RiceEal Stadium. Your home for the best coverage of the Holy War is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, it is rivalry week right here on the Zone as we get you ready for Utah and BYU coming up this weekend. For the first time since 2010, these two teams will play as conference foes. Members of the Big 12, BYU rolling undefeated, 8-0. Utah licking their wounds, trying to right the ship. But what better way to get it back on track than a win and trying to wreck BYU's season?
Yeah, they'd be right back in.
Oh yeah,
in rare Utah form if they could do it. Take down a top 10 team. By the way, I did pull up really quick. BYU Utah games when BYU is ranked. You want to know the outcomes?
Yeah,
you interested
absolutely.
In this? This was courtesy of Cougar Stats on Twitter, I think is what he goes by. So when they are ranked top 10 or higher, they are 6-0. So BYU has not lost when ranked top 10 or higher. I was kind of surprised by that. Utah has not beat a top 10 ranked higher or higher team out of BYU. And, and I've got the rankings cut off. And the total on that is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 4 win ranked.
Wow. Okay.
BYU is 14-4 win ranked. The losing ranked teams, 2008, they lost. 2008. 1999, we were ranked and we lost 17-20. I remember that one. That was at Lev Edwards Stadium. Yeah. 1994, they lost 31-34. And 2012, they were ranked and lost 21-24.
Wow.
So 6-0 when ranked in the top 10.
Yep. All right, here's the head coach of BYU, Kalani Sitake, addressing the media as BYU gets set for their showdown against the Utes.
Game week, and really excited about game number 9 coming up this weekend, heading up to RiceEal up there in Salt Lake City. Looking forward to the matchup. Thought we had a really productive bye week last week, and really proud of the guys, the way they attacked that week. Had some really good practices in there and got a lot of work done. So now with our focus being on our opponent, we got an early start last week, but we've been able to, now that it's within the week, it's an exciting time for us to get ready for this game and looking forward to the matchup and excited that the rivalry's back. So with that being said, I'll answer any questions you guys want to ask. What do you got?
Thanks, Coach. We'll start with Jared Lloyd and then John Kuhn.
Kalani, what's it like for you to walk into RiceEal Stadium with BYU, having played there, having coached there? What are those moments like when you walk onto that field? Yeah,
I mean, it's a lot of fun. I mean, there's obviously had a lot of memories there as a player and as a coach, and now as a head coach of BYU. So it's going to be, I mean, personally, I probably have a different perspective than a lot of other people, but when it's all said and done, it becomes a game. Once the ball is kicked off and we're able to start the game clock. I think it all gets back to game moment and game mode. And I'm excited to see our players take the field. I'm not playing, which is a relief for me right now, but just excited to see these young men compete on both sides, and really looking forward to this matchup. It's an exciting time for our guys.
How hard is it to recover when your team's going through a rough patch? Utah's done that. You've been through it as a coach before. How hard is it to kind of right the ship and get things back the direction you want to go?
Well, I think that's just part of the game. I mean, you look at the situation that's happening in college football, that especially when you get towards the end in November, becomes a test on how you're going to finish, So I think everyone's been there. Coach Witt's been here before, so he'll have those guys ready to roll, and I got to make sure that our guys are ready to roll. I'm not. If you watched over the weekend, you can't bank on anything. College football is unpredictable, There's a lot of parity in this conference. We've said that from the very beginning. So it definitely has our attention. If not before, now it does over the weekend. So this is an exciting time. I've said it before for our players, and just looking forward to the game. Really looking forward to this prep, to the work that we can get done today and this week. And I'm excited that the game's right around the corner.
Go ahead, John.
Kalani, talking to Kyle Whittingham earlier this morning, he mentioned how you'd be hard-pressed to find another team outside of BYU that's playing complementary football better than what the Cougars are doing at the moment. What's kind of key to your ability as a team to play complementary football so well, to have all three phases clicking the way they have the last few weeks?
Yeah, I think it's going really nicely. I think I have to give a lot of credit to the players themselves and understanding the complementary part of football and buying into the stuff that our coaches have taught them. You have to buy into your 1/11th. That really has to happen. The complementary football goes from all three phases: offense, defense, and special teams. But it definitely goes on your own phase. If you're on defense, doing your 1/11th so that you can have success, and then maximizing the opportunities that come your way if it's for you to make the big play. But in order for that to happen, everyone's got to do their part and buy into what's happening. And part of that is learning and knowing exactly what everybody else is doing. I think that takes some time. I think our guys are doing a great job at it. Have we played perfect? No. Can we play better? Yes. And I'd like to see that happen this weekend. I mean, I thought last week was a really good week of prep for us, and I think there's a lot of room for improvement. There's a lot of things that we can fix, and like to see us. I mean, like I said, last week was a good jump start for it. I'd like to see us continue the momentum that we have from last week to this week in the prep against Utah.
Thanks, John. We'll take our next questions from Jay Drew and then Jay Catch.
Kalani, with I think 9 of your 11 defensive starters are from Utah, not as many on offense, but quite a few. But with the out-of-state kids, do you have to coach them at all on the rivalry, talk to them about it, the history, or do you just kind of let the players take care of that?
No, I think that's part of I mean, we're all about love and learn, and part of learning is educating them on what this game means. But also you want to keep it to them just doing their job. The new players that are here, since they stepped on campus, I think the fans themselves have already educated our players on how important this game is. But for us as a coaching staff, we have to get back to the basics, and it doesn't really matter who's on the other side. We've got to. There's a lot of things that we can do differently and do better as a team first before we can start really worrying about the drama and the emotions that go into the game. I think playing with a lot of passion is going to be a test of this, if you guys love football or not. And I like even the newcomers to the team that don't know a lot about this rivalry. I think they care a lot about their fans. They care about their teammates, and they know that this game's important. So just like every game's happened, and I like their approach so far. So we'll keep working how we've been the entire season.
And then, do you expect to get a couple guys back this week? Cody Epps, I think you said, was getting close. I don't know about Connor Pay. I can't imagine he'd be back. But what is the health of your team going into the rivalry game?
Those two specifically, doubtful. I mean, I think there's a responsibility from our end to decide if we're putting them at risk or not. And I really believe that we got to be careful. I mean, last week we got a good look at him, and we're not. It's not comfortable for us to say that those two will be ready. If you're asking about the rest of the entire team, I think the rest of the guys seem good, seem ready. We're excited, man. I think looking at LJ from the UCF game, he's going to be 100%. So we feel good other than those two guys and some others that have been hurt for some time. But we're feeling good about going into this game with the health of our team.
Go ahead, Jake.
Kalani, Kyle refused to name a starting quarterback, so it'll be a two-way battle, it appears, all the way up to game time. How do you go about preparing for both Brandon Rose and Isaac Wilson?
We've got to prepare for anything that they can throw at us. I mean, they've had an extra week, so there's a lot of different things that we have to probably over prepare for, but that's okay. I'd rather be that way than, I mean, we have to take a look at all the quarterbacks that are on the roster and be ready for them. And I think Jay's got a good start on that. And you know, I don't think he can give Utah a lot of hard time about it. They're trying to figure out. We've been there before, trying to figure out who will be the best guy to earn the spot. And we just have to prepare for all those guys, and that's part of that is just us being assignment sound and not worrying about who's behind center. But I don't think it's for us. We have to really worry too much about that. They're very capable players, and they have a lot of talent on their team, and so they have our respect. We see it on film. We see the talent and the toughness that they bring. So we just have to be ready for all of it in every phase.
Metrics-wise, they're one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the league. What are your expectations?
Yeah, I mean, we just got to play ball, man. I don't think you can't sit there and just predict what's going to happen. I think you got to play your best, and then you live with the results. So you got to prepare for your best, and that's what we're focusing on. We've seen on film. We know they're a talented team. We've been through this many times before, especially during this year. So we're expecting our guys to play better. That's what we need to do, and then we have to bring a lot of energy and a lot of effort to the field, and then we'll just see what happens after the first ball snapped.
We'll take our next questions from Mitch Harper and then Jared Lloyd.
Kalani, why do you believe this series tends to always produce 4-quarter games that are typically pretty close?
A lot of emotions and a lot of, there's a lot of parity in between the teams, and it doesn't really matter a lot of the records. I think there's a lot of pride that goes into both sides and tradition, and so we're gonna get their best effort. I've said this over and over again every week, and it's more definite now than ever before that we will get their best effort and their best shot, and we need to make sure that they get ours as well. And if we can get that done, and who knows what's going to happen, but we have to prepare for everything, man. It's a fun game to be a part of, and I'm glad that it's back, and want our guys to enjoy every second of it.
It's hard to get nitpicky with a undefeated record, but is there an area or two that you want to see improvement in the final month of the regular season?
Nitpicky is what we've been doing this whole time, the entire year, so these guys are used to us correcting any of the concerns that we have or the mistakes that we've made in the last game, and they've done a great job at getting those, being focused on them and finding ways to make it better. And so just going from the last two games, if you look at how we went from Oklahoma State to the UCF game, I thought the guys did a great job in preparing and correcting a lot of the issues that we had from that game, the seventh game to the eighth. I'd like to see us make the jump now from the eighth game to the ninth and correct a lot of the issues. So we've been nitpicking the entire time. That's what we have to do. But in terms of correcting the mistakes, we also have to combine that with praising the good things that we're seeing from our players, and keep the momentum going and encouraging them that all these things matter. And sometimes it's just focusing on the small and simple things, and that's what we've been doing the entire year. It's worked so far. We are doing the same thing this week, and there's no change.
Kalani, you were talking about the emotion and passion that comes with the rivalry game. Is it important to make sure the guys channel that and just instruct them? Because sometimes we've seen it before where guys lose their heads a little bit because of that energy and stuff. It's important to make sure that they're locked in. This team's been pretty good at that, but this is a little different scenario.
It's not a different scenario. It's the same scenario every week. So I think everybody's making a big deal, but when football starts, it really just becomes the game, and we're focused on playing the game, not focused on anything other than the preparation for the game, going into it. And these guys, I have a good group of leaders on our team. They do a great job at reminding each other what needs to take place and what the things that we need to correct. And I've been really pleased with the way the leaders have taken ownership in the whole program. And so I'm going to lean on them heavily again. I'm going to meet with them again. We meet every week and see what their thoughts are, and get a good feel from the team from their perspective, and then allow them to go out and lead and continue what they've been doing the entire time. And sometimes the best thing I can do as a head coach is step out of the way and let the boys handle it. And they've done a great job so far. And, we've gone into hostile environments before, and this is going to be another one. So I think the guys are up for the challenge. They're excited for it. They should be. And, it's a great opportunity for us to go play the game and just keep it that the game is the game.
The game is the game. We talked about that the first segment. By the way, Kalani Sitake right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Remember, complete coverage of the rivalry game brought to you by Beehive Mills, proud mill partner for BYU and Utah athletics. All right, Hans. Kalani is trying to keep everything businesslike, not trying to mix anything up, not trying to say anything too overly controversial.
Yeah.
That's probably what you need out of your head coach, a nice, boring press conference.
We're just right in the middle of this whole election thing, and you watch these politicians and the way they handle themselves. You have to have a very precise, drawn-out, calculated message, and that's what you need as a head coach in this rivalry game. You have to go into it. You almost have to script it out.
Yeah.
Like, this is how I'm going to handle it. Because if you waffle, if you turn, then people are like, oh, well, what happened to the friendly banter? What happened to this isn't a rivalry. What happened to, it's just another game. And all of a sudden you're all emotional. Why are you more emotional than this loss than you were the last loss? Why are you more emotional than this win than you were the last win? And people just nitpick you to death.
Yeah. It's not fair, but it's true.
If I were to take the BYU or Utah head coaching job tomorrow, I would script out how I handle the week of this game with media, with everything except for my staff. The only people that are going to hear the real me will be my staff. My wife won't hear the real me. My ward won't hear the real me. My players won't hear the real me. The only people that are going to know the real me are my coaches. That's it. And everything else is political. I am going to draw it and reveal it the way I want it to be seen by people. So people look at me and say, boy, he sure handles this rivalry with kindness and love. Boy, he sure loves the opposition. In the meantime, we're drawing up a game plan to execute you. That's it.
Yeah.
To take you out. To absolutely beat you till you don't want any more. That's what the game plan. And when I'm sitting there with my coaches, it's like, no. We've known these guys for a lot of years. We know exactly what they're going to try to do, and we're going to stop it at every angle.
Yeah.
And then when we get the lead, we're not going to sit on it. We're going to attack it. We're going to go so hard that they don't know what's coming at them. Kalani took a lot of abuse for a long time until he finally got off the schneid in 2021.
Yeah. There was, Lloyd, was it Sam Farnsworth who tweeted out a video of a high school game where Morgan Scally and Kalani Sitake were at, and he got a video of them doing the bro hug and talking and yucking it up on the sideline. And everybody's like, oh, the classy moment between these two. Make no mistake, both those guys want to cut the other one deeply on that game on Saturday. They love each other like brothers, make no mistake. Nothing but admiration and love and respect and kindness and everything else. But for those 4 hours on Saturday and all the preparation, both those guys want to win that game 55-0.
If you don't have that intention as a coach with your coaching staff behind closed doors, if you don't have that intention in your scheme, you'll be beat. This is the type of game where the actual alpha wins.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, we live in a society now where we all kind of discard the alpha and make fun of them when they do the alpha con or whatever that stupid thing was. But this is the game where it's an actual coliseum, and the bigger dog with the bigger bite and the nastiest, they're the ones that win this.
I mean, if you have to say you're an alpha, probably not an alpha. But people, make no mistake, when you watch those games, when Utah won, 10 or 11 in a row, they were always the alpha. And when BYU won the last one, BYU was the bigger, stronger, more physical team.
In the trench.
Yes.
They beat them on both sides of the trench. And I guarantee you, Utah has not forgotten that, and they are ready to pay it back. I guarantee you, Kalani, who did it in 21, has an understanding of how they did it, and he's going to try to replicate it. Like, guys, this is the mentality we went in with. This is what ended up panning out, let's do it the exact same way. Yeah. We figured it. We think we may have an algorithm. Let's not veer away from what got us the trench win last year or 3 years ago.
Yeah. 131, Hanson, Scotty, good, the bad, the ugly, coming up next. Another edition of Whole World News coming up at the end of the hour, and you'll hear from Kyle Whittingham coming up at 2:05. It's a busy show, as always, on a Monday during college football season, especially when it's rivalry week. It's right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is DJ and PK.
Joined now by Utah football coach Kyle Whittingham. How long does it take to shake off a loss or 4 of them? This isn't something you've had to deal with. This has got to be weird, quite frankly.
Yeah, it is, and I guess that's a positive that we have not had to deal with that, but obviously a huge negative that we're right in the middle of it. It's trying for everybody. The players, to their credit, have had a very positive attitude throughout practices and preparation, so that's been something that's been good to see. But bottom line, we got to find a way to get a W, and it's been a really tough month, to say the least. You know, we're trying everything we possibly can to get this thing turned around. I can tell you that. There's no stones left unturned, nothing that we're not evaluating, reevaluating, and we just got to keep searching for the answer. No shortcuts. It's nothing but hard work and trying to figure things out.
Catch DJ and PK mornings from 6 to 10 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's time to saddle up and talk about the winners and the losers. This is the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, here's the good.
Has time. Now locates Barkley out of the backfield. Barkley slips 2 tackles and picks up the first down, jumping up in the air to the 30. A gain of 14 for Barkley with some nifty moves along the way.
Was that not the best 14-yard gain you've seen? All moves right here. Makes the first guy miss. The spin move at the last second. Bro. And then, what, Tiki, you're right. What is that?
A reverse hurdle from Saquon Barkley yesterday. And again, we've seen some pretty crazy things and some pretty athletic things. But according to his coach, Nick Sirianni, and I tend to agree with him, it was the best athletic individual play I've ever seen. What I think is so cool is there's going to be kids all over the country and all over Philadelphia trying to make that play and talking about that play and simulating that play in their backyard or peewee games. It ain't going to happen. There's only one guy in the world who can do that. I'm speechless. Yeah. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, that's a unique vision and feel. To be able to see that defender that was coming before you turn your back to him and know that you need to leap and kind of do the splits in the air and allow him to go right underneath you. It's wild, man. What's crazy about football, every week I go into a week thinking I've seen it all.
Yeah. Yep.
Every week I see something where I'm like, how did that happen? Or I wonder what the rule is on that.
I don't think this can be replicated.
No.
Like, this cannot be replicated.
And the problem
because
is,
people are going to try, and you're going to get badly injured.
Somebody's going to get hurt doing this. Yep. I think you're right. Somebody's going to take a helmet right in the lower part of the back and cause all kinds of problems.
Right in the
Lower
tailbone.
the back, or it's going to hit the back of the legs. You're going to flip.
Land on your head.
You'll land on your head. There's going to be a bad injury because you can't. This isn't like Michael Jordan. I'm going to jump from the free throw line and stick my tongue out. You can't do that.
It was beautiful. What is Saquon? Is he top 5 back in the league right now?
Boy, he's got to be. He had 199 yards of total from scrimmage yesterday, 2 touchdowns.
He is right now number 2.
He is just the second player in Eagles history to record 1,000-yard plus scrimmage yards and 8+ touchdowns through the first 8 games of the season.
Saquon's number 2 in total rushing yards and number 2 in yards per game. Derrick Henry, who we saw against.
Oh, boy, did I ever.
Your beloved.
Whew. I guess Josh Jacobs has been replaced as the guy that can apparently run for as many yards as he'd like against the Bronco defense, who had been playing pretty good ball up until that game yesterday.
What in the hell happened?
Yeah, they were due. They always stink when they play Baltimore for some reason.
Baltimore's really good, though, bud.
They are good. They are good.
I think right now, if I had a little coin purse full of Skittles or M&Ms, I would put 90% on them.
Coming out of the AFC?
To win the whole thing.
You know who I might go 50-50 with him.
You said Baltimore to win it all?
Yeah.
I can't trust Lamar Jackson.
I can.
If he's got a running game like that, I think that takes a lot of weight off him. Right now, though, I would say if I had 100 Skittles, I'd put 50 on Baltimore, and I'd put 50 on Detroit right now. Detroit's playing some really good
They look really good.
Yeah.
They're a fun team to watch.
And they're just like, you always hear that old adage, you take on the personality of your coach. They are the personality of that coach. And I can't imagine, Hans, if there was a guy that was coaching at the collegiate level that you would want your kid to play for more than that guy, I can't imagine he would exist.
Oh, I'd love to play for that guy.
Or for you individually to play for a guy like that.
I would love to play for him. My issue with Detroit is Jared Goff.
Oh, yeah. But he's playing so good right now. But you're right. Same thing with Lloyd said about Lamar Jackson. Can you trust him in the playoffs?
I can trust Lamar Jackson more in the playoffs than Jared Goff.
I think you're right.
But who I don't trust is Geno Smith.
No.
But some of the throws he made yesterday for Seattle, I actually did one of those. I live in a van down by the river where you take the glasses off. I'm not sure, Mom, is that Bill Shakespeare? Like I was asking a man, I'm like, babe, does that say Smith on the back of his jersey? And I'm like, is that Geno? She's like, I don't know who Geno is. I'm like, because those two passes that he threw in that final drive are two of the most slick, beautiful passes I've seen from a quarterback. And I'm like, Geno?
He's had his moments with Seattle since he's come over there.
Well, guess who's leading the league in passing?
Yeah.
Geno freaking Smith.
Who knew that Seattle would get the better end of that deal when they went from Russell Wilson to Geno Smith?
Oh, I can't even believe it. Geno Smith.
Yeah.
Anyways, give me Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Take 90% of my M&Ms.
Like it.
Right now.
Like it. Man, I hope you're right. Because you know what that means? No Kansas City. There's your good. Let's get to the bad.
Now the bad.
It's a bad day to be on the offensive coaching staff for the Las Vegas Raiders. Hans, is your guy Antonio Pierce is cleaning house. Offensive coordinator Luke Getsy fired. Offensive line coach James Craig fired. Rich Scangarello, quarterback coach, fired. All in their first season in Las Vegas. Get out.
Jeez.
Raiders coach Antonio Pierce said on Monday he would use the next 24 to 48 hours to figure out who would replace Getsy as a play caller. Said he'd sit down with the staff, or I guess whoever's left on the staff, to try to make a decision there.
Yeah, because that's your problem. I mean, or could it be Gardner Minshew as your quarterback? Maybe that's your problem.
That might be a problem.
Maybe you went from Janine Garoppolo to Gardner Minshew. Maybe that's a little bit more of your problem. I don't know.
You finally benched him, right?
Minshew?
Yeah.
Yeah, but except for AOC got injured.
So now you got to go back to Minshew?
Gardner Minshew is your guy again.
Oh, boy.
Because Aiden O'Connell is injured, so yeah.
Raiders scored 4 touchdowns on 50 drives. 3 of those touchdowns coming in the final 5 minutes of the game, where the Raiders trailed by at least 20 points.
A little bit easier to score when they're not guarding you.
Oh, that's a rough.
2-7. The Raiders are off to a stellar start this season. Yeah, I'm a little surprised. I thought you guys would be way better than this.
No, you didn't.
I did.
You didn't. You knew Gardner Minshew wasn't the answer.
You know what you do?
You knew Leo Getsy was not it.
How long did you say he's going to take to find his
24 to 48 hours? Don't you have a game? Are you on a bye this week? Or?
They are on a bye.
Oh, okay.
They do have a bye.
Hold on, though.
Thank goodness, because my stomach needs a bye from that.
Dang, I wish we had a coach coming on with us live today, because I would ask him, you never make the fire without knowing the hire, do you?
Usually not, no.
Yeah. I've got to imagine, even with the Andy Ludwig situation at the University of Utah, if he did offer up his resignation to Kyle Whittingham, Kyle had to have known or had an idea of what his next move was before he accepted that. Yeah, which, we're going to see it, though. I know, but we're going to see what Mike Bajakian's all about. I'm not kidding you guys. Now, we're going to hear the Kyle Whittingham presser, but I know you've been hearing some of it, and I've been seeing some of it. I like how Kyle's handling things right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we got a plan. What are you talking about? We got a plan.
Yeah.
Of course there's a plan. we're not going to tell you our plan, but we've got a plan. And
now that sounds like Kyle.
To me,
I think Kyle's getting back to his roots.
As long as you got a plan, I don't care. But you got to have a plan. It can't be, well, we're going to run through Monday and Tuesday. We're going to run through today and tomorrow, and we'll probably get some things figured out. Wednesday, we'll have it nailed down.
Yeah, by Wednesday at the latest.
Man, you got to have a plan. And it's got to be straight and direct. And you can't avoid questions and ho and hum. And so I like what Kyle did in his presser. I'm excited to hear the presser because I want to hear the inflection along with the quotes that I've been seeing.
You know, you brought up a good point. And, you know, Kyle has always had a quick hook up until Andy Ludwig on offensive coordinators. If Utah wets the bed offensively.
Oh, he's done.
I'd say, you know what? You had 2 weeks. Done. Guess what? You can still stay on staff as an advisor, but Jim Harding, guess what? You're calling plays now.
For sure.
You have to. You got to get to a bowl game.
Utah's averaging 376 yards a game right now. I go to Mike Bajakian, and I'm like, I know it's a good defense, and I know it's a rival. We're going to go over that average, and I need you to look good.
Yes.
Otherwise, I have to move on. I can't just sit here and mess around with a guy that it's not like I can go tell people, go look at his record. Go look at where he's come from. Look at what he's done. He's coached a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that there's great attributes that would make him great. And maybe all he needs is the right time and the right place. Look at TJ Woods, the offensive line coach for BYU, Scotty. It's not like he's had the most clean and pure run as an offensive line coach. He's had moments. He's developed players. But you put him in the right scheme and give him the right guys, and he looks like a genius. And with Mike Bajakian, it might be the same thing, and it needs to be this weekend.
Yeah.
For him.
Yep. All right, 150, Hans and Scotty, Whole World News next, and then you will hear from Kyle Whittingham coming up at 2:05 right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
Jazz are the worst team in the NBA this year, and there are going to be loud fans that are just, the Jazz, why would I ever go to that? We get responses, I see it on my Twitter, etc. There are still 70,000 diehard Jazz fans that cannot wait to talk about the Jazz.
You know what's funny? Those same fans that you're talking about, with the Jazz, this bad. I guarantee you the overlap between that group and the group complaining that they didn't lose enough games is way higher than you think.
Oh, yeah, the Venn diagram's near a circle.
They're like the same people. Like, you just can't win with some people.
Yeah.
Like, I never thought the bottom would be this bad. Larry Miller is spinning in his grave, blah, blah, blah. It's the same person who was like, take note, why aren't they taking note? It's the same person.
Yep.
Which is bananas to me, but it's true.
Yeah, it's not gaslighting, but it doesn't matter what you do, you can't win.
Hear Jake Scott and Ben Anderson every day from 10 to noon on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Go!
It's time to span the globe for the hard-hitting news you care about. Well, not really. But hey, at least we found it interesting. This is Whole World News on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
We've got the whole world in our hands.
You got the whole world in our hands. We've got the whole world.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's time for another edition of Whole World News. Hans?
Well, we're not going to go too far away from sports. In fact, it's all sports. All the time, even in Whole World. But I wanted to throw this at you because he is a freak show.
Yeah.
And he is going to be playing basketball for Florida. And I don't know how many people know about this kid. Guinness Book of World Records, tallest teenager ever at 7'9".
He's playing for Florida?
He's playing for Florida. Oliver Rue. And he is a full 7 feet 9 inches. So to put that in perspective for people, that's 3 inches taller than Sean Bradley, 3 inches taller than Yao Ming, 3 inches taller than Taco Fall. It's 2 inches taller than Manute Bol. He's a registered 7'9". That's a full 6 inches taller than Wembanyama. It's 7.5 inches taller than Rudy Gobert. I can't really put it into perspective for people until you see the pictures of him. And he's well proportioned.
So he's not just rail thin like Sean was when he went into the league.
No, in fact, so there's a picture of him. Just he's
all right.
He's 2 inches off the court and he's dunking right there. This is a picture of him next to teammates, and these are college kids that he's standing next to, college basketball players. So look at his build.
It says 305 pounds.
Yeah.
Sometimes these guys are like 220.
No, he's extremely well proportioned for the body that he has. Zach Edey was 7'4", so another 5 inches over Zach Edey. It's kind of bizarre, and you're like 7'9". So what is 7'9" like? What does 7'9" do? Well, we're going to see it with Florida.
Well, I mean, just a guy that can alter shots and not get pushed around, because a lot of those guys just get pushed around to the point where they just can't really do anything and can't have much of a career. But if he's 305 pounds, and 7'9", that's a problem. That's why Zach Edey was such a problem. As Edey was a big dude.
Yeah.
I mean, not just tall, but he was thick.
Yeah.
And you had a hard time pushing him out of the paint. This guy looks like he's got that same kind of makeup.
Monster. He's from Canada, Quebec.
Okay.
His mom is 6'2". His dad, 6'8". Brother, 6'9". But he just skyrocketed. And
imagine a guy that's 300 pounds and a foot and 3 inches taller than Rock?
Rock is bonkers. It is bonkers. Here's another kind of picture of him so you can just see his build. It's very well proportioned.
Yeah.
It's more well proportioned than a Taco Fall.
Oh, yeah. By far.
Way better proportion than a Manute Bol.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Well.
But I haven't heard anything about this kid until I was looking for whole world news stories, and it was a story called The Freak Show. So I clicked on it. And
of course, you got to click on it. It says Freak Show.
Yeah, it's all about this kid. Yeah. 7'9", Quebec, Canada.
Take off, eh?
Don't ruin our shows.
201, Hans and Scotty coming up next. You're going to hear from Kyle Whittingham right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Remember, we got complete coverage of the rivalry week going on all week long. Our coverage brought to you by our good friends at Beehive Mills. And remember, you can get ready for that BYU Utah with a special extended pregame coverage on the Zone in the combined Cougar and Ute pregame show beginning at 6 o'clock on Saturday. Or come join the live in-person at game day just outside of Roland Hall, 720 Guardsman's Way. We'll be up there starting at 10 a.m., leading right up until kickoff. Extended pregame and game day coverage right here on the Zone, all brought to you by our good friends at Beehive Mills. Hans and Scotty, this is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.